Hay still needed delivering, despite the demise into the nearest foliage of our now testless Leyland FG. As a stopgap, father and his mate Ken jointly purchased a little Bedford CF pickup with 1800cc engine. This quickly turned out to be erroneous, with plenty of breakdowns, a seriously constipated performance when loaded, or indeed empty as well. The lorry, it also turned out, had more filler in the cab than metal when fully inspected. It soon went on its way. A visit one evening to see a bloke in much markle and his York engine Mark 1 Transit, complete with soup tin fuel cap and a dozen or so empty Easy Start cans kicking about in the cab, convinced Dad that he better keep on looking around for something else. Some local travellers had a very sorry for itself Morris J4 pickup for sale, which was also rapidly discounted, the seller of which, having apparently known my father since school days, spent most of the viewing referring to Dad as old Four Eyes and trying to get a rise out of him. Nothing was doing on either count, and the search went on. In due course, a retiring builder and neighbour of my grandad made it be known that his 1973 M-Reg Bedford CF was for sale. It had the 2.3 petrol slant 4, an aluminium drop-side body. It drove okay, albeit the body creaked and groaned somewhat over potholes, this on the ride round the council estate when we test drove it. Better than the previous offerings, Dad handed over £250 that was being asked, and we once again had a working truck. This was summertime, 1991. As well as delivering hay, the Bedford was used for collecting firewood, transporting fertiliser, and shifting the contents of our back garden to my grandparents' small holding whenever I got a few too many motorbikes and the council enforcement officer had been made an appearance. When in the spring of 1992 I was released from education and started my motorbiking business, Dad would be roped into collecting bike spares with the Bedford CF. It's hard to comprehend now, but folk really did just have random motorbikes and mopeds stashed in all manner of places back then. The values of Jap iron were so low, and so plentiful were they, that a quiet word with a guy in a pub would turn into a Sunday morning in the Bedford clearing his or his parents' garden shed and garage of junk for less than £100. As my name got around, contacts in various local areas were made, and an evening would be allotted once a month. Dad driving the Bedford, myself and my then fiancée riding shotgun in the cab, and we would go from estate to estate, buying up the remains of wrecked motorbikes. During this time, the old CF only needed servicing and a patch of welding on the chassis in front of the rear leaf spring hanger. In a fit of youthful enthusiasm one weekend in early '93, I rubbed down the cab and then brush painted the poor thing black with blue trimmings. Father was somewhat bemused, but it was much better than the faded grey and rust that had been all over it. A radio cassette was even installed, but not that you could really hear it. When the lorry was empty, the rattling from the drop-side body was just so loud. The steering wheel was always slightly off-centre, and this annoyed my father. On removing the centre plastic cap to gain access to the large securing nut, Dad erupted with laughter, pulling out a piece of cigar packet with the phrase "nosy bugger" written on it. He was still truntering later on, and when he had finished doing the job, simply replaced it, as he said, for the next bloody idiot to find. A quick pause in proceedings to say, please can you subscribe to the channel? Press the little red button and the bell notification button, and you'll get notified about all the different things that pop up from the channel. Back to the action. Cheers. When in June '94 I'd managed to pass my driving test, a deal was done and I paid to renew the lorry's tax, if in exchange Dad would add me to the lorry's insurance. How times have changed, as it only cost an extra £40 back then. With me at the helm, the Bedford was really put to work. I was young and hungry to start earning big money. Being the petrol version, and with an aluminium body, the CF was pretty light unladen, at only around 1,500 kilos. I could happily stack bits of motorbike spares all over it, or put greedy boards on and stack the scrap right up. There was barely a day over the summer of 1994 that the lorry wasn't loaded to the gunnels with some stuff that I was trying to sell. The 2.3 petrol engine was pretty thirsty, especially being low geared. You could really get accelerating quite well, and the little whirlpool in the tank soon sucked away the tenner's worth of petrol you had only just put in. One evening, whilst on the way to the pub with my old mate Beef, a skip was spotted on the village green. The council had put it there for the local community to dump their various junk in, but I spied it was rapidly filling up with bits and pieces of metal items. By time darkness had descended, Beef and I had transferred at least half a lorry load of broken push bikes, washing machines, and all manner of other metal debris. Our arrival, black to the elbows in the quiet country pub, with a stacked up lorry, drew various remarks and raised several eyebrows. By the time the first autumn leaves in '94 started to drop, it was becoming clear I needed to get a bigger lorry, one of my own this time. The little Bedford had performed well, aside from an incident at the top of our estate where it managed to do the splits. Now having tons of cider fruit on its back, as well as scrap, and dead cars overhanging its 10-foot body more often than not, I gathered together the wrinkled remains of notes from my sock drawer, bit the bullet, and bought a Bedford TK to replace it. This was a world away from our little CF, and now I really could feel like the snowman out on a job. Hello there. Thank you for watching my video. If you've enjoyed this one, but like to see a few more, please like, share and subscribe. It's always appreciated. Maybe buy something from the merchandise shop, the details to which will be on the screen now. Take care to you all, and all the best.